Have you ever sat in a perfectly quiet room, lights dim, phone off, and still felt uneasy? Not because something is wrong, but because you've realized everything around you is designed to distract you from something deeper. Yourself. The soft couch, the hum of the fridge, the endless scroll of meaningless content. It's all noise, a warm, comfortable, suffocating noise. They call it happiness, but it's not. It's sedation. We were raised on a diet of dopamine and lies, told that joy was just one Amazon order away, that once you had the right job, the right body, the right relationship, you'd feel whole. But no matter how much you consume, no matter how many likes you collect, no matter how many vacations you post, there's always that quiet ache. The ache no one talks about. The ache that whispers, "This isn't it." You weren't born to be comfortable. You weren't born to chase happiness like a dog chasing its tail, panting, spinning, exhausted, but never arriving. You were taught to believe that struggle is failure, that suffering is a sign you're broken. But what if the opposite is true? What if the very thing you're running from, the pain, the challenge, the discomfort, is the only thing that could ever make you whole? Because here's the truth. Comfort is a cage. It's cozy, padded, but it's still a cage. And happiness? That thing they sell you in glossy packages and Instagram captions, it's an illusion, a trick, a leash. You weren't meant to smile all day. You were meant to fight, to fall, to rebuild. True peace isn't found in avoiding the storm. It's built in walking through it, with your eyes open and your heart bruised but still beating. But they won't tell you that, because a person chasing comfort is easy to control. A man addicted to pleasure won't rise up. A soul obsessed with feeling good will never dare to be great, so they keep you numb, fed, entertained, distracted, a king on his couch, with no kingdom, no war, no purpose. And when the silence creeps in at night, when your hands stop scrolling and your eyes adjust to the darkness, the truth returns. You were never meant to be happy, not in the way they taught you. You were meant to become something real, something raw, something unshakable, and that only happens in the fire. They told you happiness was the destination, the golden prize at the end of the grind, the job, the car, the girl, the weekend getaway. But what they didn't tell you is that this kind of happiness was never designed to satisfy your soul. It was designed to keep you compliant. See, modern happiness isn't joy. It's sedation. It's scrolling for hours and calling it relaxation. It's eating to numb, buying to fill the void, and smiling for photos you don't even want to be in. It's the illusion of peace, wrapped in anxiety. We were sold a lie, not because it's true, but because it's convenient. A comfortable society is a quiet society, and a quiet society never asks hard questions. Because if you chase pleasure, you never ask why you feel so empty afterward. If you chase validation, you never realize you're living for the approval of people who wouldn't miss you if you disappeared tomorrow. This lie has been passed down for generations, from commercials, classrooms, and even well-meaning parents. Do what makes you happy. But what if what makes you happy in the moment slowly destroys you? What if happiness isn't the goal? What if it was never supposed to be? Look around. Why is it that people who have it all still feel broken? Why do celebrities overdose? Why do millionaires jump from balconies? Why do influencers post suicide notes dressed as captions? Because happiness, at least the kind we chase, isn't real. It's a mirage, and the closer you get, the more hollow it becomes. But you weren't built to chase mirages. You were built for depth, for fire, for truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it destroys everything you thought you wanted. Sometimes it pulls the floor out from under your life and forces you to rebuild from ash. But that's the only kind of truth that frees you. The pursuit of happiness makes slaves, but the pursuit of meaning, that makes warriors. You can't microwave fulfillment. You can't shortcut purpose. You have to earn it in the furnace of suffering, reflection, failure, and growth. You were not born for ease. You were born to transform. And until you face that, no amount of comfort will ever feel like peace. We talk about comfort like it's a reward, like it's something to be earned after a hard day or a hard life. But what if I told you that comfort isn't the reward? It's the trap. See, comfort doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't build character. It doesn't sharpen your mind or deepen your soul. It just makes you quieter, softer, easier to control. And the worst part, you don't even notice it happening. At first, it feels like a gift, the warm bed, the fast food, the endless entertainment. You don't have to struggle, you don't have to think. But slowly, comfort becomes your prison. Because what you don't use, you lose. And when nothing challenges you, your spirit withers, your ambition dies, your mind begins to rot under the weight of convenience. You stop dreaming big, you stop asking questions, you stop fighting. Comfort is the slowest poison known to man. It doesn't kill your body, it kills your will. Have you ever wondered why, despite having more comfort than any generation before us, we're more depressed, more anxious, and more lost? It's not because we're broken. It's because we're starving for meaning, for purpose, for something real, and comfort can't give you that. It can only numb you long enough to make you forget that you ever wanted it. You were not built to sit, to scroll, to numb. You were built to struggle, to strive, to break and rebuild. There's a reason why warriors feel most alive in battle, why athletes crave the pain of the grind, why artists lose themselves in the torment of creation. Because suffering demands your presence. It snaps you out of autopilot. It forces you to meet yourself at the edge. But comfort lets you drift. Comfort whispers, it's okay, rest a little longer. Until you wake up one day and realize you don't recognize who you've become. You've gained the world's pleasures, but lost your soul in the process. You want to know why your life feels empty. Because you haven't done anything lately that demanded everything you had. Real fulfillment only comes when you stretch beyond yourself, when you risk, when you sacrifice, when you choose pain, not because you enjoy it, but because it leads to something bigger than pleasure. Growth, honor, mastery, freedom. You want to feel alive again. Stop chasing comfort and start chasing your edge. Because the cost of comfort isn't pain, it's purpose. And the longer you avoid the fire, the colder your soul becomes. They say, follow your bliss. They say, do what makes you happy. But what if that advice is the very thing keeping you weak? What if chasing happiness is exactly why you feel empty? Because the version of happiness sold to you is not freedom, it's sedation, a pacifier for the adult mind, a spiritual lullaby to keep you asleep while your potential withers. The truth is, most people don't want real happiness. They want relief from boredom, from stress, from their own reflection. And that's what the world offers. An endless buffet of distractions, a million ways to escape, to forget, to stay numb, but never to grow. Fast food instead of nourishment, porn instead of love, noise instead of silence, comfort instead of confrontation. You scroll for hours, not because it brings you joy, but because it keeps the silence away. Because silence forces you to face yourself. And for most people, there is nothing more terrifying than being alone with their own thoughts. So we chase shallow highs and mistake it for purpose. But real purpose doesn't feel good at first. It feels like resistance, like waking up early when every cell wants to sleep, like showing up when no one claps for you, like doing the hard thing again and again and again. It's not glamorous, it's not viral, but it's real because purpose is not a moment of joy. It's the slow, brutal climb towards something bigger than yourself. And here's the paradox. The more you chase happiness, the more it slips away. But the more you chase purpose, discipline, service, sacrifice, the more meaning you create. And meaning is the soil where true joy grows. But you were never taught that. You were told happiness was the finish line, that if you got the job, the body, the house, you'd be complete. But the finish line keeps moving, and the more you chase it, the more lost you become. Because happiness isn't a destination, it's a byproduct of struggle, of meaning, of facing your demons and walking anyway. So when you feel sad, don't panic. Don't reach for a screen or a snack. Sit in it, feel it, ask it what it's trying to teach you. Because emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. And sometimes, sadness is just your soul begging you to wake up, to change, to fight, to stop living like comfort is the goal, when growth is what you're really starving for. Why is it that in a world overflowing with pleasure, we still feel empty? We have access to every indulgence imaginable, food at the tap of a screen, entertainment at the swipe of a thumb, validation in the form of digital hearts, and yet we wake up tired. We go to bed anxious. We scroll through life looking for something, anything, that feels real, because this isn't happiness, it's sedation. We're not alive. We're medicated, not by doctors, but by design. The system doesn't want you awake, it wants you obedient. It doesn't want you questioning your life. It wants you scrolling through someone else's, because the more distracted you are, the less dangerous you become. And so they sell you numbing agents, not labeled as drugs, but disguised as comfort. They give you sugar, but not nutrition, porn, but not intimacy, noise, but not connection, dopamine, but not meaning. And we take the bait because it's easier. It's easier to binge another show than confront your loneliness, easier to microwave your meal than face the kitchen or your body, easier to chase the next notification than sit still with your thoughts. But what happens when you choose the easy path over and over again? You don't just get soft, you forget who you are. You lose the muscle of your mind, the edge of your soul, the tension that once made you strong. You become domesticated, like a lion in a cage that's forgotten the taste of the hunt, and deep down you feel it. That nagging itch in your chest isn't anxiety. It's your spirit, begging you to fight back. But here's the trap. You've been conditioned to think that discomfort is a sign something's wrong. Feel pain, take a pill, feel bored, open TikTok, feel lost, buy something. But what if discomfort isn't a symptom to be cured? What if it's a signal? What if your pain is trying to tell you something, that this isn't the life you were meant to live? What if boredom is a doorway to creativity? What if anxiety is the voice of your unlived potential screaming to be let out? We silence these signals, not because they're dangerous, but because they're inconvenient. But the truth is, everything you're looking for lives on the other side of that discomfort. Discipline, growth, love, peace, not the fake kind, the real kind. The kind that requires something from you, that costs you comfort, but gives you yourself in return. So if you feel lost right now, good. That means you haven't completely given up. That means part of you is still alive, buried under the numbness, but not gone. And that part of you, it remembers. It remembers what it felt like to dream, to try, to hurt, to care. You don't need more pleasure. You need purpose. You need to feel pain again, real pain, so you can remember what it feels like to overcome it. Only then will you realize you weren't made to be comfortable. You were made to come alive. You don't need a villain anymore, because the world you live in is one big sedation machine. Every button is designed to soothe you. Every screen is designed to hold you. Every app is designed to know exactly what you want and give it to you before you can even form the thought. And on the surface, it looks like paradise. No pain, no risk, no effort. But underneath, a silent erosion of your spirit, because nothing about this life is earned anymore. We've created a system where success is faked, bodies are filtered, personalities are marketed, and wisdom is repackaged into 15-second dopamine bursts. We've made it so easy to feel good that nobody even remembers what it's like to feel real. This is the disease of easy, a culture that sells you relief instead of resilience, that medicates every struggle instead of mastering it, that teaches you to run from pain, when pain is the only thing that ever taught you anything real. We've replaced meaning with pleasure and called it happiness. We tell ourselves we're evolving, but what we've really done is regress into a state of endless craving. Scroll, tap, buy, swipe, repeat. Your ancestors fought wars. You fight Wi-Fi buffering. They hunted lions. You skip ads. And yet somehow, despite having every comfort, every luxury, every shortcut, we are more anxious, more depressed, more numb than any generation before us. Why? Because the very thing we think is protecting us, comfort, is what's poisoning us. We weren't built to live in a state of constant ease. We were built to struggle, to evolve through it, to tear muscle, to break through limits, to fall and crawl and climb again. That's what gave us meaning. That's what made us human. But we've replaced that with likes, validation, comfort food, cheap dopamine. We've turned from becoming warriors to becoming watchers, passive consumers of a life we're no longer living. So if you feel like something's missing, you're right. What's missing is the fight, the reason to get up, the challenge that demands your evolution. The very thing that once gave your ancestors purpose is now considered a disorder. We diagnose restlessness, we sedate intensity, we punish those who burn too brightly, and reward the ones who stay quiet and compliant. You were never meant to be numbed. You were meant to feel, even the pain, especially the pain, because pain wakes you up. It reminds you that you're alive and that your life means something. And in a world trying to lull you to sleep, staying awake hurts. But it's also the first step toward breaking free, because you don't escape this trap by chasing more comfort. You escape it by becoming someone who no longer needs it. So now you know. It was never about happiness. It was never about being safe. It was never about finding ease or feeling good. It was always about becoming someone who could walk through hell and come out with fire in their eyes. They told you to chase comfort, but comfort made you weak. It dulled your edge, it stole your hunger, and it made you forget who you really are. But you can remember. You can feel it in the silence, when the screen turns black and your mind starts screaming. You can feel it when you've had enough of the numbing, the scrolling, the pretending. There is something inside you that refuses to die quietly, a piece of you that was never meant to sit in a chair and wither, a spark that doesn't want safety, it wants war, with your fear, with your limits, with every lie they told you. That spark is still there, buried maybe, forgotten, but not gone. So this is your moment, not a feel-good quote, not a like, not a reel, but a decision. To become someone different, to become someone who doesn't chase happiness, but meaning, who doesn't hide from the pain, but grows through it, who doesn't wait to be saved, but stands up and fights. You don't need permission, you don't need motivation, you don't even need hope, you just need to start. Pick the thing that scares you, the thing that forces you to grow, the thing that breaks the mold, and move. No more waiting, no more watching, no more pretending you're okay with a life that keeps you sedated and silent. You are not here to be comfortable, you are not here to chase pleasure. You are not here to slowly fade away under the weight of your own potential. You are here to build something out of your pain, to forge yourself through resistance, to rise so violently that even comfort trembles at your presence. So stop scrolling, close the screen, step into the discomfort, and become the fire, because you were never meant to be happy, you were meant to be alive.